With where we are on this system, it turned into Tropical Depression number 9 at 4 o'clock this afternoon. All that means is that update, we found a defined center of circulation around this feature. You see how much more in advance the rain is going to be coming in. That's going to start tonight. Already some of those outer bands, if you will, getting close to the Texas Gulf Coast. There's also some hardy wave action out there. The buoys showing up to about 7 feet, but you get closer to Louisiana north of this storm, the waves showing up 8 to 10 feet plus. So some of that wave activity will be coming in as the storm does move into South Texas. The 4 p.m. cone is a little bit farther south than it was earlier today, but you can see that a lot of the South Texas and Middle Texas Gulf Coast under a tropical storm warning. And even though you're not inside the cone, Corpus Christi, doesn't mean that you're immune to getting the tropical storm conditions, which is what we are expecting here. So as this approaches, the wind speed on this is showing 45, but between that 12-hour span, it's possible that this is a little bit stronger as it moves in, again, to the deep South Texas Gulf Coast early tomorrow morning, thinking around sunrise for a possible landfall. Did want to show how the weather modeling is depicting this as it comes in. So we'll start to see some of that rain overnight after midnight, and as the center of this thing approaches Texas, we're going to see the coastal bend on the northern side of the center of circulation. So that's the dirty side of the storm, if you will. Typically what we'll see with something like this is more rain north of center as it moves in perpendicular to the Texas Gulf Coast. This is 8:30 in the morning. You see that big shield of rain kind of lopsided when you're looking at center, with most of that rain falling north of where the center will move in. So even after the center comes in, we'll still have the chance to have some of those feeder bands, and some of these, even though they're going to be a little more isolated, could drop in some pretty heavy rainfall if you find yourself under one of those feeder bands dropping the tropical rains. But by the afternoon, this should all be west of the Rio Grande and into Mexico by 6 o'clock or so. So as that happens, this whole thing moves in. We're looking at a little rise in sea level, 1 to 3 foot storm surge up and down the South and Middle Texas Gulf Coast. That is going to lead to, again, the minor coastal flooding and a high risk for rip currents on area beaches. The rain that's accompanying this is going to be on the order of several inches of rainfall. And if this thing gets a little farther south, may have to move some of this a little farther south, but I do think the majority of the coastal bend will be in line for at least an inch of rain, and some of this we could see locally higher amounts. So we are in line for some beneficial rain. Unfortunately, it looks like the watershed is not going to catch where the bulk of this rain falls. Nonetheless, this is going to be a beneficial rain for a lot of the coastal bend. Corpus Christi, I've got us in this 2 to 4 inch window, and again, locally higher amounts possible. So I don't think we're going to be seeing widespread rampant flooding. It's going to be a quick moving system. The rainfall, though, on several inches here could lead to minor street flooding. So if that's a problem on your morning commute, you'll want to be tuning into First Edition to see and figure out how much rain has fallen, where it's fallen, and if there are any flooding concerns. I think the most likely time for the flooding, if there's going to be some on the roads, will be right around sunrise, 6 o'clock in the morning or so. As this starts to move in, we'll slowly see that move to the west, and the coverage will go down in the afternoon and evening hours with respect to rainfall. The wind, got a lot to talk about the wind with this. What I did on this chart is I laid down where the forecast center is, and that's going to be really what tells us where the highest winds are going to be found. And it'll be close to the coast, near where the center moves in. That's where I think the 40 to 50 mile per hour winds will be. As you get farther to the north, Corpus Christi, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. That would be low end tropical storm force. 39 miles per hour is tropical storm. It's possible we have some gusts up around 50 miles per hour, but I think, again, the strongest winds are going to be confined to the center of where this storm tracks into South Texas. That being said, It's possible that maybe a tree branch falls onto a wire, knocks power out for some people. I do think some isolated power outages will be possible with that 2 to 4 inch rain and 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts possible. And something we haven't talked about yet with respect to hazards is the tornadic possibility. That's a low-end chance, and most of the variables that we're seeing, they're going to be happening centered around the sunrise time frame. But the tornadic chance, we saw this with Hannah on the north side of the storm. On those outer bands, you could get some very isolated and weak spin-ups. These wouldn't be long track, long duration, powerful tornadoes, but a brief touchdown and then back up will be possible. We're talking EF0 to EF1, so 65 to 85 mile per hour winds if something like that were to happen. And that is a possibility with a tropical system like the one we're going to get tomorrow morning. Tonight, rain after midnight, 78 the overnight low, and east wind 5 to 15. That wind picks up tomorrow in the morning. With the tropical storm conditions likely, could have, again, some 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. The rain is going to be most prevalent in the morning time, again, focused around sunrise, and then we'll see the rain depart to the west in the afternoon. An isolated shower possible on Wednesday, and by the time we get into Friday football time frame, it's going to be like, what tropical system are we talking about? Near 100 by Friday and the weekend. There may be some growth in the population in Corpus Christi, talking about mosquitoes, by the weekend, but it's back to the hot stuff after this little tropical system moves in tomorrow morning.
All right, we're going to give Alan a break, and then we'll be back with more right after this.